Welcome to the MELA quiz by Quest, the quizzing society of Sri Guru Gobind Singh College of Commerce. The rules are, there are 20 questions. Each question is worth 1 point. Questions 5, 10, 15 and 20 are star marked. Answers are to be submitted through Google Forms. Please refrain from Googling as there may be Google traps. Question 1. The Dash book series had a big impact on the fantasy world building and was one of the big pieces of works that had described a world that combined magic and primitive technologies. However, it was the first book in its sequel series that inspired the name of a famous hedge fund. Fill in the blank and identify the hedge fund. Question 2. It was during his visit to Shanti Niketan that a famous Indian artist, painted the iconic Women on X. The artist explains X as a sign of bondage, indignity, and struggle for survival. The painting was sold to Christie's in 2011 and set a new world record for the artist at 19 crores. Also, the artist here is not referring to the modern day version of X, but the more traditional version seen mostly in Kolkata nowadays. Identify X. X can be identified from this painting. Question 3. An English children's bestseller writer came under controversy when the British Royal Mint refused to feature her on a commemorative 50 paisa coin. She was accused of being racist and xenophobic as her Dash series, a very famous children's book, became heavily featured gollywogs. Gollywogs are offensive black rag dolls used to depict black people, and the Dash series often showed them as villains. However, gollywogs were replaced by goblins and teddy bears in the modern reprints of the series. Identify the series or fill in the blank. Question 4. Dash is an absurdist humorous book written by X and a co-author consisting of 28 black and white photographs, mostly portraits of X showcasing different uses of his iconic Dash. The preface shows X holding a copy of the Time magazine, while the backside displays, warning, this book is preposterous. 4 of the photographs in the book are allusions to X's pleasure about financial success, with dollar bills, American coins, and an S-shaped dash in the form of the dollar sign. Ironically, he came to be associated with money in another way, more than 25 years after his death. Identify X and the book written by him. Question 5, a star-marked question. In July 2019, this famous author was widely criticized for allowing several omissions and amendments in the Russian edition of his third book, using a softer tone when speaking about Russian authorities. Though his book always paved way for liberal ideas citing humans, newspapers, and media, thought he has sacrificed all of them. He later responded to the backlash saying that he was in a dilemma and he chose to alter some parts of his book to bypass the censorship wall. Identify the author and the book. One might know him from the first and his extremely famous book. Question 6. Last year's surprise hit, Arcane, one of the few good video game adaptations, was in the works for a long time. Initial work on the series had started when a promotional music video was released a little less than a decade ago. The song was very well received. However, it was the graphics that stole the show. A similar graphic tone was taken for the show. What song is this? Question 7. The word dash has been used by the likes of Kanye West and Kendrick Lamar, etc. to refer to marijuana. When a certain artist began their career, they tried to think of a stage name. The above-mentioned word came to their mind and how it also sounds like a girl's name. At the same time, they also adore a certain animal. Combining the two gave them a unique stage name. Who are we talking about? Question 8. The cover art of this 90s album is often considered one of the most iconic ones of all time. However, the band later had to make a change in the costume of the person on the cover since technically it violated the Geneva Convention. Which album is it that changed the life of its band members? Question 9. An interesting fact about X, an Indian actor, is how he has a die-hard fan following for his movies in country Y. It all started with his 1995 Masala flick released in 1998 in Y, which turned out to be a blockbuster. The movie reportedly ran for 23 weeks in that country and grossed over $1.6 million at the box office. For a few months, images of him, his co star Meena, and an elephant were plastered on prominent hoardings across the capital city. Something about his hyperbolic acting style, kinetic costume changes, and exuberant dancing improbably clicked with the understated and reserved audience of the country, whose bursting of the acid bubble had left the economy and the citizens depressed. Identify X and Y. Question 10, a star marked question. Painting systems are composed of complex layers with unique mechanical properties that depend on the type of drying oil or paint medium used. Dash are a characteristic which are a result of such mechanical properties. They can be used to determine the authenticity of various artworks as it is a sign of aging and can be used to check out counterfeit pieces. Different art forms such as Italian, Flemish, or Dutch can be distinguished on the basis of their dash. The same phenomena can be seen in artworks like Mona Lisa, with significant deteriorations when you look at it closely. Give the characteristic or fill in the blank. Question 11. Identify the movie from this minimalist poster. Question 12. Fox has done everything they can to keep the clip from Family Guy from ever surfacing online, though it hasn't stopped people from trying. In the clip, Peter inadvertently gets X and their family caught as he's in the attic with them eating potato chips loudly. Recently, in Jan 22, a cold case investigation team claimed that in reality, a prominent notary had caused X's family to get caught, although saying they weren't entirely sure. Identify X. Image on the next slide. Question 13. This is a 19th century painting. What is the point of this painting? Question 14. Started in the wake of the pandemic, X is a podcast by two eminent personalities, which includes candid conversations between the two recorded in the summer of 2020. Both the personalities are known for their love for their country, with the podcast being named after a song sung by one of them. However, their relationship goes way back to 2008, when a popular picture of the two from an event was edited into a popular meme. Identify the misunderstood song and the meme. Question 15, a star-marked question. This is a piece from a bat-themed NFT project spearheaded by a famous personality. Identify the person. Question 16. Dash, which literally translates to X, rubbing, is a traditional Japanese art form that was originally used as a means of recording the size and characteristics of X before cameras were invented. This technique was later used for scientific and educational purposes and then emerged as an art method. The process involved covering X with non-toxic semi-ink and applying wet washi paper over it to make imprints. After that, X would be rinsed off and taken to the market. Identify X here. Question 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. 17. Question 17. This 1432 artwork consists of 12 panels featuring various biblical scenes. Work's center is representation of Christ as a sacred lamb bleeding into a goblet. This painting has been burned, forged, and raided in 3 different wars. It has been through the hands of Calvinists, Napoleon, and even Hitler. 2 panels of the painting were again stolen in 1930s. One panel depicting Saint John the Baptist was recovered, but another panel is still missing, and a reproduction is used in the place of the stolen panel. What infamous record is this artwork exactly famous for? Question 18. Following is the description of something we saw recently. The sleek, all-white design featured a series of connecting rooms nodding to various Compton landmarks, including Tam's Burgers, Dale's Donuts, and the Compton Courthouse, and the nightclub Eve After Dark. Details like vintage Chevrolet Impalas and a massive photograph of the city rounded out the tribute to Los Angeles. What are we talking about? Question 19. On the next slide is a scene from a French noir movie from 1964. In this scene, the protagonist is shot and is in pain. This movie was later considered a failure for its lead actor, but this scene is associated with something that proved to be very unsuccessful for someone else. From where do we know this scene more famously? Video on the next slide. Question 20, a star-marked question. This movie seemed to be more fun to joke about than anything, but it became a cult classic after its release on DVD and debut on television. The movie was later adapted into a novel and a DC comic. The lead actor admitted to having begged the director to be in this movie because the title sounded fun. One of his dialogues became more famous than the movie itself. In the TV edit, one of the same dialogue, the 2 curse words replaced by monkey fighting and Monday to Friday. Which movie? Thank you for participating in the quiz. Please make sure you submit the responses on time.